Your phone calls are coming up in just a moment at 1-800-259-9231. I want to make it clear to the listeners here that if you're just tuning in for the first time and you're saying, what are these guys talking about? Or you've never heard anything like this before. Bob Chapman, myself, and many others didn't just start talking about the global elite and the central banks being private and we need to audit them and they're going to bankrupt us with fiat currency they create and give to themselves to buy up the planet. Bob Chapman's been writing and lecturing and speaking for more than 45 years on this subject. He's an icon fighting this, publishing books 30-plus years ago on the subject, publishing major publications on it. Many others, Ron Paul, for close to 30 years, from the first time he was in Congress as a libertarian, then they kicked him out and he came back later in the early 90s. For 30 years, he's been pushing to just audit the stinking thing, the private Fed. I was called a kook 14 years ago when I would go give speeches at county commissioners about how the Federal Reserve planned to overthrow our country, how they planned to stage terror attacks, to set up a police state that was really for the people. They have to have the police state in place before they rob us, how they were brainwashing the police. We have known of what we speak. So a lot of people now are tuning in going, oh, they're just now talking about the New World Order. No, the mainstream media is starting to do that. We've been covering it forever. We were right. And I'm not bragging here. It's not hard once you research globalist documents, once you study. Then it becomes very annoying because this is so elementary to those of us that know it. It's like, how can you people not wake up? How can we let this continue? How can we let these criminals take over our society? How can we let them abolish our Bill of Rights and Constitution? How can we let the nanny state take control of our lives? We're going to talk to Bob Chapman about that in a moment. You can also get a free copy of his newsletter at theinternationalforecaster.com. You can also call a toll-free number on the site and get a free hard copy of it. Or you can subscribe there. But also, Fall of the Republic is out, 2 days out. People are making copies of the DVDs. We started mailing them out 2 days before it was released on Wednesday. So a lot of folks got them on Tuesday and Wednesday, even before it was officially out. PrisonPlanet.tv. PrisonPlanet.tv. Record downloads. People sharing it. It has a DivX version. You can burn this regular CD that plays in basically all the new DVD players and quite a few of the old ones. If not, you can go buy a DivX DVD player for like $80. Or even better, a DivX copier. And then just make a copy off your computer, then make copies on the DivX copier or on your computer itself. The point is, this film was made to be seen, made to be viral, made for you to give it to people. You wonder why the dollar's dropping, why the economy's imploding, why your life's getting worse, and why the media is telling you the economy's great? You want to understand what the carbon tax is? You want to understand why Obama wants year-round school? You want to know why your Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are being recruited by Homeland Security? You want to know why the TV's brainwashing you and your neighbors? Fall of the Republic. Fall of the Republic. The greatest masterpiece I've ever made. I'm really proud of this, and I'm proud of what you're doing with it. Infowars.com to order it, or toll-free 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. I want to tell you about a couple of our sponsors, and then we're going to go right back to Bob Chapman here today. First off, frontsight.com. This is the premier private handgun, rifle, and shotgun training facility in the country. Before I even knew who they were, I saw police I knew, big shooter enthusiast I know well. Back when I had time to still go to shooting contests and things every once in a while, I'd see Front Sight T-shirts even 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Then we got contacted by them, and later I learned out I learned who they were. It's Front Sight. Frontsight.com, frontsight.com. They've got a free Springfield Armory XD pistol and the caliber of your choice when you sign up for 5 days of the already highly discounted world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute, and you secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. And just go check out the classes. They're so inexpensive. It's out in Nevada. This is a great time of year to take it, and you get the free handgun and your choice of calibers. Frontsight.com. That's frontsight.com, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, going back to Bob Chapman. Bob, I want to shotgun out news headlines at you, get quick comments, your take on it. Then I want to go to phone calls till 5 minutes in the next hour. Then Darrel Rundus joins us. And then we've got Stewart Rhodes on. But I wanted to first bring up Stewart Rhodes. In fact, do we have those MSNBC clips? They're up on InfoWars. And I'll probably just play them with Rhodes because we're getting short on time. But then it's a catch-22. Then I cut him short. They snivel Slimeball, Chris Matthews of Slimeball, the show Slimeball. He gets him on, will not let him talk. I mean, they might let him say half a sentence while they're talking over him. Him and the spokesman of the Southern Poverty Slime Center, that's openly anti-First Amendment, they say basically they're training terrorists to overthrow America. When Stewart Rhodes is a top graduate, former editor of the Law Review at Harvard, Army paratrooper, one of Ron Paul's chief staffers, impeccable record, and they do the 10 basic pledges of, I won't put people in FEMA camps, I won't violate the Bill of Rights and Constitution, I will not confiscate guns from law-abiding citizens. I mean, no one can doubt that I got a guest who's coming on later calling me on air while I'm on air, and I'd forgotten to turn my cell phone off. Even though I just turned the phone off, it's still ringing. Always nice. Every once in a while I forget to turn this iPhone off. Okay, got distracted there. The point here that I was trying to make is they are really afraid of this organization. They're afraid of military and police having it pointed out. But to hear them say there's no threat from the military against the people, when NLE 09 and all these mainstream articles about how they want to use foreign troops to quell domestic disturbances officially, not just drills I've been to, officially. Official legislation for FEMA camps, official congressional reports on FEMA camps, admissions, Homeland Security, the MIAC report saying Ron Paul supporters are terrorists, libertarians are terrorists, Bob Barr supporters are terrorists, gun owners, veterans are the #1 threat. I mean, but it was more desperation from Potok and Chris Slimeball Matthews. But it really made me mad to see what they did. You're a veteran of intelligence. I think this is the silver bullet. And we've always known this, but the police and military, because they don't create lists at Oath Keepers. People go, oh, they want lists of who the Patriots are. COINTELPRO puts that. No, they're not even making lists. They're just saying you pledge and getting the idea out and having big, huge meetings where people swear themselves in and say, I'm going to follow my oath. It's clean, it's healthy, it's good, it's as Americana as it gets. And the establishment's trying to demonize it. Bob Chapman.
I saw the interview, and verbally, the gentleman wasn't a street fighter. And as you know, Alex, as a professional, if you or I were on there, we would have cut up Mr. Matthews into small pieces. But this gentleman used to be a good gentleman, and I just think he was really taken aback by the onslaught. And I see that on CNBC. It's used very often against people like Peter Schiff, et cetera, to just make them look absolutely terrible. But the concept is fantastic. The leadership, of course, is without peer, and it's going to work. It's going to work very good. And it's something that you and I have talked about. We need them, law enforcement, our military, to protect the people, not to do what the government says they want them to do to the people. And we've said on this program that, at least I have, that if it gets nasty, we go to the military and say, hey, we're going to help you, but you got to follow, your oath, and you got to follow what you should do and not false or illegal orders. And I think, in a nutshell, that's what they're trying to do with this organization. And it is, Alex, you are absolutely right. They are terrified, because what's going to happen is anybody who understands what they're trying to say is going to want to join them and say, yes, we want to be with you as well in an auxiliary way. We're not law enforcement, but we're going to help you.
And that's already happening. And then the people get together instead of dividing the people from the police and military. We come together. And my next point is, I don't want to preach at Rhodes because he's a scholar. He really knows the Constitution, top lawyer from Harvard, veteran. but he was being gentlemanly. The first thing I would have said when they were cutting me off is, Matthews, you got me here for a prop. You're afraid to let me speak. How dare you say there's not a threat from the military against the people when they're under bad leadership? There is. The Bill of Rights and Constitution is meant to protect us, but they wouldn't let him talk. And then I would have added, what about Waco? What about Kent State? I mean, I would have just hit him with that. I would have pointed out to Southern Poverty Law Center, hey, how come the internal FBI files that have now been ordered released by a federal judge 2 years ago report you guys were running Elohim City and Tim McVeigh? How about you little bastard tell us what Southern Poverty Law Center really does? But again, he was a gentleman, and that's why they don't have me on Chris Matthews. That's why, though, I've taken over his TV show twice with a bullhorn, even though they tried to beat me up. It's on video in the Obama Deception Extras. And that's why Luke Radowski's taking it over. And that's why anytime that bastard's outside, we're going to go with bullhorns and take his TV show over.